Today I'm going to speak about the top 5 tips I have for anyone who wants to start in property. If you're new to my channel, please feel free to subscribe, hit the bell notifications below so you'll get up to date with everything. So now I'm going to go into the first 5 top tips to give you when you're starting out in property. The tip number 1 I would say was to be clear of why you want to get into property. Property is a very big industry. There's a lot of people in this industry and there is a lot of money to be made if you do it right. So you need to be clear of why you actually want to get into property. Is it to grow your portfolio? Is it for, is it for passive income, for rental income? You need to be able to know why you want to start in property and break it down from there into what kind of money do you want? What kind of strategies would you be looking at? There's so many different strategies. Do you want a buy-to-let mortgage? Do you want something like a buy-to-let investment? If you want lease option investment, if you want to make money on property with no money down, these are kind of things that you need to think of why you actually want to start in property. And if you write down your reasons why, it's going to help you more than anything else. It's going to help you more to realize what strategies are best for you and where you want to start, because there's so many places that you can start in property. And the best way is to know at the beginning why you want to get into property. And if it's for cash flow, say for cash flow, then if you want your cash flow, you want to have a bit of extra monthly income, then that would be like rental property. So if you want rental property, then that would go with why you wanted it, because you wanted extra bit of cash income every month. But if you are someone who wants to be a bit more hands-on and you want large sums of cash, then maybe flipping property is something for you. So that's one thing to consider, is why you actually want to get started in property. Second tip that I have would be get educated, and I can't recommend this enough. You need to be educated. This means reading magazines, reading books, reading whatever content, obviously relevant content to what you want to start in property, whether it's sourcing, whether it's deal packaging, buy to let, buy refurbish, buy development. Construction is also a part of property, because if you're constructing, you're doing developments basically, and you have to read according to what you want to start, and that's the best thing. You can't just read everything and just think, how am I going to start anything? That's how you will come with a mind in property. So if you don't have your goal of where you want to start, like number 1, you have to you will struggle with getting educated, because you'll read everything, you'll be like, where do I start? So if you want to be clear of why you're starting, what you want to achieve, then you can be more accurate into what you're going to educate yourself in and how you're going to get there. So you educate yourself to most relevant what you want to achieve, basically. But also, I can't recommend enough getting educated, reading books, watching videos, going to seminars, and just getting as much knowledge as you can before you actually go into property. So tip number 3 I would say would be to build your network. That means going out networking, going out to people relevant networking shows. So it can be construction show, it can be like build shows, it can be property investment shows, landlord shows. I'm sure you can find them. The YPN magazine say, that's quite interesting. It has a list at the back of it of all the networking events. That can be quite helpful. So if you want to attend certain events in certain areas, you know what the dates are. So some of those have relevant materials. The networking events, that's kind of building up your network and people. Property, people don't realize it's a very people-oriented business. It's based upon the relationships you have with other people, what kind of rapport you have with them, and how you're able to help them and add value. So not many people think that property is just you buy a house and you rent it out. It's not. There's loads of people involved in it, and I think I've learned that as I've been progressing within my property journey, and I think that is something that you need to build on. Networking is something that you need to build on as well. It's good as well because you're able to market yourself to other people. So it's a way of developing a network of you. If you were a sourcer, you would be able to network there and you'd be able to market yourself as a sourcer in those networking events. The other thing is that if you were a mortgage broker and you wanted to go to those networking events, you can find loads of other people who want to get mortgages, to remortgage, and that actually helps as well. So going to networking events actually really helps you, and it kind of boosts your confidence a bit as well, especially when you don't know much within the property industry. You can pick brains of people who do, so that's a very useful tip as well. I would say tip number 4 would be to find a mentor, or to find someone, because a lot of people say mentors are expensive and I don't have that kind of money. I would say try and find someone, even if it's in a networking event, try and build a rapport with them. Try and be able to say that, you know, I can work with you, I can work for you, or try and get some work experience, say in a estate agency, or try and mirror someone who is directly in that industry that you want to be in. This is due mostly because you will learn from the experience of being with that person and being around them and what they're doing every day to take action to where you want to go. And I think that is quite important as well, especially when you're starting out in property and you have no clue where to start. When you're following someone who actually is doing it already, you'll be able to acknowledge what they actually do, the steps they take, what they say, what goes wrong, what doesn't go wrong, what goes right, and how to keep things going on track. And I think that is very important as well. So tip number 5 would be to take action, and I think this is the most important tip, because a lot of people will say that I want to get into property, I want to get into this business or that business, I want to get into construction and development, but they don't actually take action towards it. And people don't realise that even though property is a people business, and a lot of people think you buy a house and you get money from it, from rental. Sometimes you can't always get a good investment, and sometimes you need to do calculations. You need to make sure whether this investment is good for you. You need to come up with the figures and say, well, is it worth me investing? That all involves work, and it involves you going through the process of, is this really worth investing in? And if you didn't know how to do this before, then you won't know how to do this in property. It's something that you have to take action and you have to learn as you go on. As well as if you had a mentor, or if you had someone to mirror, that would help you get there faster. The other thing I would say was, within taking action, it stops you from procrastinating. So instead of you sitting there and saying, I want to do this, I want to do that, you actually have to go out and do something. And I think that's what a mentor is really good for. I also have another video if you want to see the importance of a mentor, and I'll put that at the end of the screen if you want, at the end of the video. But yeah, so I think the most important thing is to take action. As an overview, the 5 tips will be clear about what is your why and why you want to start in property. Number 2 is get educated. Make sure you know enough knowledge, read enough books. On average, if you read 5 books about a topic that you're interested in, you're more educated than a normal person. So that is something that you can do. Number 3 is build a network, to network outside and different seminars and property investment shows. Number 4 would be to find a mentor, someone you can mirror who's already in the industry, who can help you with any problems that you might have. And number 5 would be to take action. If you love this content and would like more, please subscribe and hit the bell notifications below. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below and I'll personally answer them for you.